Hi, Fallen Angels. Welcome back. I'm here to do another reaction video about some serious stuff. Um, I hope you guys know if you like it, leave a thumbs up because that will do me justice. It'll bring up the algorithm, put us in other people's video selections for you pages, and subscribe. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. I need 1,000 of you guys. So I want to hit some high thumbs up, and I want some new subscribers. So enough of my talk, enough to play some world problem videos.
There are things in this world that we do not understand, but they are out there. We believe that they are in another planet, millions of miles from here. Maybe one day we will reach them. But the thing is, they are already here, whether you like it or not. They are more intelligent than us. And while you sleep, they are out there.
Do y'all remember the mom that believed her son was murdered and put on display at the Bodies Museum in Las Vegas, y'all? Well, I have some receipts for y'all. She came with receipts, and y'all, this gave me chills down my spine. I truly feel like this might be her son. Now, they're trying to say that her son unalived himself and used cyanide on himself and put it inside of himself when there was an actual receipt of it being purchased before his unaliving. She also mentioned that her son's stepmom is on a government watch list, and she believes that she is the one who unalived her son as well as her son's father. There are some comparison photos to the display at the Body Museum to compare to her son's face, and also the marks on her son's chest that make no sense and have no correlation to cyanide poisoning. And then there's also a post that was made by her son saying that he believed people were trying to unalive him, and she used that as evidence as well. All of this, and they still saying that the body is not her son. But y'all, this is scary because I really feel like it might be. And the fact that those bodies are on display, that is so disrespectful and inhumane. She is still fighting for justice to prove that this is her son, y'all, and that they tried to cover this up and gave them money, and it was all about money, and how they get these bodies at this museum is suspicious anyway. But yeah, y'all, this is crazy. She has receipts, and honestly, I feel like she has a case here.
Here's Joe from Georgia. Well, folks, the date October 1st, 2025 is looming right around the corner. And folks, if we haven't been paying attention because so much other stuff's been going on in the news, that's the day that the federal government will need a budget in place or the government will shut down. Well, the Republican House and Senate, they are pushing to have a continuing resolution to the current bill that we're in. And it would continue it until January 31st of 2026. Well, Chuck Schumer, who is the Senate Minority Leader, as well as Hakeem Jeffries, the House of Representatives Minority Leader, have both united saying nothing's going to get passed, folks. There will be a government shutdown unless you can roll back the cuts that were in your big, beautiful bill to Medicaid and other health care related things. Now, they are standing on that, I can guarantee you. So if there's going to be new funding, it takes 60 votes in the Senate. There's not 60 votes there in the Senate, folks. So start paying attention. It does look like we could possibly have a government shutdown on the October 1st. And by the way, it would be the second time a shutdown has happened while Donald Trump was president.
And Michael said,
That's crazy, and I hope it don't happen. But politics, man, politics is it's a mean game.
in a recent interview that he was frightened of you. He says that he was so frightened of you sometimes that he would be sick. Is that true?
Well, I just knew about that when I heard him mention that on TV on the Oprah Winfrey show. I didn't know anything about him being sick, but regurgitating. But if he did regurgitate it, he regurgitated all the way to the bank, you know.
What do you mean?
I mean, by me being strict with him a little bit, and it made him a superstar, you know, because Look, it just didn't happen on its own, you know. He had to have a beginning. All of them had to have a beginning.
Does anyone know why the entire United States is covered by an invisible layer of clouds? And this is this week. Today is January 17th. So I want to show you this video. I wish I could credit the person, but on Twitter they steal videos and post them, so I don't know who did it. If you do know, tag them below. But basically they were looking at cloud coverage on one of these radars, right? And what they found was for like the past 2 weeks, the entire US, even right now, is covered by an invisible layer of cloud coverage. That is super, super, super weird. You can see where all the main clouds are, but then you go look outside and you can't really see this invisible layer, and who knows what the invisible layer really is. Oh yeah, it's not just the United States, it's the entire world. So I opened up the Windy app to see if maybe it was here, and it wasn't. So this reminds me, do you remember when we had that glitch on Event 2 Sky? But in that same glitch, we saw physical manifestations at, say, South Africa. And quite literally at the same time, people have been taking pictures of 2 full moons, and the full moon's been there for 4 or 5 days. And of course,
Trump is losing it, y'all. And I really...
What the fuck is up with 2 full moons? That's crazy. 2 moons, and they were full for a couple of days. That shit is, it's getting wild. It's up there too, that's getting wild.
I really feel like we're getting really, really close to them invoking the 25th Amendment on his ass. So many things this week. First of all, he reposted this AI-generated video of Laura Trump on Fox News talking about med beds, which is a QAnon conspiracy about these magical medical beds that can cure all, even reverse aging, which has since been taken down. Then, I'm sure most of you have at this point seen the in Oval Office press conference he had, where the reporter was asking him about the meeting with Pete Hegseth and the generals, and he got confused because he thought they were talking about generals from other countries. Oh, it's so great that they want to come visit with us because we're the hottest country in the world. And then JD Vance had to step in. Then, despite the fact that JD Vance had to step in and course correct, he kept going. And he started making up lies, improvised lies on the spot about this fake meeting with foreign military generals on U.S. soil. We're going to give them tours of facilities. We're going to show them the latest equipment. We're going to do all these amazing things for them while they're here. I'm sure there's more I'm missing because I don't follow his Truth Social like that. But there's also talks about the reason why he chose to invade Portland is because he's misremembering things from 4 years ago, from 6 years ago. The theory is that he thinks it's like 2019. And he's acting on old information, which I'm not so quick to poo-poo that idea. I actually don't think that JD Vance and company are waiting to invoke the 25th Amendment because they think he's still competent. In fact, we have alleged text evidence proving that JD Vance knows exactly how mentally incapable Donald Trump is at doing this job. So no, I don't think that they have ever thought that he was capable enough. I think they're waiting to invoke the 25th Amendment because they know that he still has a pull on the MAGA base, and he still has a pull on the people that run the system. But at some point, he's going to start to go so far over the edge that he's going to start saying things, doing things, and making decisions that affect people's pocketbooks. And that's when he's going to start to lose support from the billionaires and from the establishment right and everybody else that's still hanging on to his coattails. I think they're waiting to invoke the 25th Amendment when they know that he is no longer a useful puppet, a useful tool for their movement. And I'm sorry, but when it gets to the point where JD Vance has to be standing in the Oval Office to intervene on interactions between him and the press because he is so fucking confused that he doesn't even know what the hell is going on, I think we're getting pretty close to that moment.
There is this new Palantir commercial ad that just came out that you guys need to check out. You guys do remember who Palantir is, right? The new data integration company that's helping the Department of Defense, the IRS, the DOD, DOGE, and all these, and ICE, the people's handling immigration. But check this thing out, y'all. This is crazy.
Good morning, citizens. Your overnight account balances have been updated. Time to start a productive day. Final notice, your account balance is below 500. You need 50 credits by the end of the day to avoid automatic eviction. If If you have missed work due to illness, you must provide a doctor's note to reclaim your credits.
Any extra credits? Please.
Tensions are high today, with more people planning to join the Citizens Against Digital Control protest. Remember, the government knows who you are at all times. Resisting is not worth the consequences. All of their newest social credit systems are designed to keep you and your families safe and efficient.
Authorities seized a record balance of an individual's credits, citing excessive hoarding.
Traffic violation detected. 7 miles per hour over the limit. 75 credits have been automatically deducted.
You have to be fucking kidding me.
Yep, you got the flu. Your blood work shows a significant iron deficiency. I recommend incorporating more red meat into your diet.
Dr. Jones, your taxes were not filed and have been automatically deducted with late fees. Your medical license has been revoked.
Oh, hell nah, I filed an extension.
Purchase denied. Monthly red meat allowance exceeded. Try mealworms instead.
Can you guys please let me through?
Attention. Unauthorized political gathering detected. Participants' access to financial services has been suspended. Due to the speeding infraction, your car will be immobilized for 3 days.
Fuck you! Take your surveillance policies and rot in hell!
You've earned 50 bonus credits for reporting your neighbor's hateful misconduct. This content exceeds your current social credit tier. May we suggest citizen responsibility? Sarah, open the door. You have been identified by the authorities. Don't resist. Don't resist. Don't resist.
Did you see what the
That was a crazy commercial. That's our future. I'm fucked. I don't know if you guys are, but I'm fucked. I'm getting out of here.
head of FBI said about Charlie Kirk? No.
To my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
What's Valhalla? Valhalla is a place where warriors go in heaven. Okay. So that's like warriors heaven. Yeah. But there's a crazy theory that dropped because the shooter of the Charlie Kirk shooting, there's a picture of him in his bedroom on his computer screen. Whoa. There's a wallpaper of Goat Island. All right?
Goat Island?
It's a place, I think, somewhere in Europe.
Yeah.
But anyways, in Goat Island, there's a coffee shop called Valhalla.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. Now check this out. Check this out.
In Greenland?
Yeah.
But before continuing, I wanted to warn you guys. Phones were being spied on by a blue radio app. Click on this icon, then on more. If you see it, delete it immediately.
In the last few months,
yeah,
I think when the Trump administration started, they were really pushing to get Greenland. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
They want to control it.
Yeah.
And they want to put like military there or something like that.
Yeah.
So back this.
Yeah.
What if they already did it? What if they got it and they were able to put like secret military or headquarters right there and nobody knows?
Wait,
and then Valhalla is like,
is
I'll
the
see you in
coffee
Valhalla.
shop.
That's a coffee shop. Yo, I'll see you in Valhalla because that's like in Greenland. That's where Goat Island is.
Yeah.
Breaking news. Well, the conspiracy theorists have nailed another one. You know, we said for a long time, the ancient pyramids in Egypt were devices used to harness power. Now, unless you live underneath a rock, you've surely seen that there has been a massive discovery underneath the Khafre Pyramid in Giza. 8 columns, 2,100 feet deep into the Earth's surface, wrapped in coils. I swear to God, you can't make this stuff up. And you know what? Nothing's been debunked yet. So a team of researchers used a type of radar called SAR, which is similar to like LiDAR, where they were able to scan beneath the surface of the Earth and saw this. Oh, and underneath those columns are perfectly square cubes, 2,100 feet beneath the pyramids. So needless to say, this changes absolutely everything we know about history and ancient technology. My personal belief, I think that they were using the Earth's magnetic core and vibration to generate some wicked strong power. More to come.
Amelia Earhart did not die in a crash in the Pacific.
That was the voice of World War II hero Joe Jervis.
All over the world. I've been in every country in the world. You name it, I've been there.
Before he died in 2005, Joe Jervis gave his final interview about Amelia Earhart.
Do you, in your heart and in your mind, believe that Irene Craigmile was at one time known as Amelia Earhart?
Yes, I do.
Do you believe there's other people that think that as well?
Yes.
40 years had elapsed since Jervis met the post-1940 Irene when he was asked if he still believed she was the former Amelia Earhart.
Yes, I do.
In 1965, Joe Jervis discovered that after World War II, the former Amelia Earhart was known as Irene Craigmile. She knew astronauts and famous pilots. She knew Amelia's old friends. She knew Amelia's sister, and a comparison analysis showed that she perfectly matched Amelia Earhart in every way. This is because Joe Jervis was right.
Was writing actually first invented in southeastern Europe? Let's talk about the controversial Vinca symbols. These undeciphered symbols are found on artifacts associated with the Neolithic Vinca culture. The name comes from a Serbian village where the artifacts were first excavated. And what's crazy is that most of these symbols are dated to around 4000 to 4500 BC. That's well over 1,000 years before writing is traditionally thought to have been invented in Sumeria. But the debate isn't really about how old they are, but about whether they actually constitute writing. The distinction between drawing and writing can get kind of blurred sometimes, so it's important to clarify what academics mean when they say writing. So for instance, if I draw a stick figure, most people would just say that's drawing, but then if I draw a stick figure and then an arrow and then a deer and then a man eating, then you kind of would see that almost like writing. It's like I'm communicating the idea of hunting or something. But even that isn't really what academics mean when they talk about writing. In this case, it's about representing spoken language with symbols. So the symbols don't represent ideas, they represent language. Some of you might be thinking, oh wait, does that mean Chinese doesn't have writing because they use a logographic writing system? Well no, because each Chinese symbol in context has an understood reading out loud. For anyone literate in standard Mandarin, if you give them the same paragraph of characters, they're going to pronounce them in roughly the same way. Any system of symbols that doesn't really have that going for it is usually not called writing. It's not necessarily drawing, but it's not writing. Despite looking like writing for all intents and purposes, there's a decent amount of evidence that the Vinca symbols don't represent language in this way. For instance, the vast majority of artifacts contain so few symbols that they couldn't feasibly represent like a sentence or something. And when they do appear together, there's no like regular orientation of the symbols like normal writing, and there's no recurring sign combinations. Like even for logographic writing systems like Chinese, you reuse certain combinations of symbols a lot because you reuse certain combinations of words a lot. Some of the symbols appear to have meaning, but also a lot of them just seem like they're used for ornamentation or decoration. Another thing is, unlike Sumer, the Vinca culture didn't really have complex cities, so it's kind of hard to imagine that these symbols would have been accounting or record keeping because it wouldn't have been as important to their culture. So in summary, they're usually called proto-writing because some of them seem to have meaning, but they don't really appear to represent language. They're still really cool and probably some of the oldest examples of proto-writing that we have, but probably not the first writing.
Researchers study life hereafter, and it gets really weird. So you may have heard of xenobots, and I didn't realize you could do this with human cells. It turns out that even after an animal has expired, its cells can still be viable and can be turned into a completely different form of life. Xenobots, at least the first ones, were made with frog stem cells. Turns out they could organize into little robots that essentially act in a contagious manner. They can come in and sweep up other stem cells and turn them into copies of it. But it turns out you can do the same thing with your cells. Every cell in your body has the capacity to make an entire you. Even if you expire, you could still clone yourself and make another if you really wanted to. Or you can allow the cells to self-organize into a body that they kind of figured out themselves. The cilia that once lined your lungs that cleared out crud could also be applied to a new body form for one of your cells that self-organized into a little robot. These robots have lots of applications. They could deliver medication, or they could go in and sweep stuff out of your gut, like cancerous cells. These guys can be built, but they can also go ahead and act in a contagious manner, not too dissimilar to how prions work, that forces other cells into the same conformation. In this way, they can reproduce. Granted, every cell also has the capability of dividing anyway. I also love this leggy boy. I always will.
Did you hear the crazy news from NASA that
3-eye atlas just slowed down when it was on its course. They don't know why it slowed down. It slowed down, and they said it shifted its trajectory just over 3%, and it looks like it's headed to orbit our moon. They said if it keeps on that path, it's going to go around our moon. And so they've said they've never seen a comet. They've never seen any interstellar object be able to slow down, change its course, and then speed back up. And so it is baffling the scientific experts on space and putting them into quite a tizzy. So a lot of people who think that it might be some UFO or interstellar craftage now are saying, look, we've been telling you the whole time, because a natural object wouldn't be able to maneuver like that. And I will give them that. I don't know what it is yet, but it is quite crazy. They said that it's not going to hit the moon. It's just going to go perfectly all the way around it, is what they're thinking now. And so if it is an interstellar object that's trying to spy on us, well, this is, it's probably going to do it.
If you go to the hospital today and get an encephalogram, what's that? That's the memory of your conscious mind. It's on the CD. Let's download it on this being. Now we got a walking, talking duplicate that has the total memory that you have, because we just took it off of your own mind.
Okay, it's like Blade Runner, the android.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. The only thing is that it's like this DVD recorder. Sometimes you have glitches in it, so you have to have them tuned up occasionally or redone. And so we take them to Camp David, or there's a wing at Bethesda Hospital to just tell you. If you go down there and check, you'll find the nurses, if they're willing to come forth, they'll tell you they work on those people, and they call them the others. I thought it was interesting. They're people. Remember, these people can think and act, but they don't have soul. That's also prophesized. Soulless
right, that's
beings.
True. That's true.
You know, the highest paid bodyguard.
That's ridiculous. I wonder if that's true. Yeah, it's up to you guys to decide, but I'm starting to think it is. I think they got technology for that. And a lot of these people back months ago were getting frozen. Like they were glitching out. And a lot of the stars and stuff. And they might have died. And they cloned them so they can still make money off them. You know, or actors and stuff. I kind of believe it. Technology's there.
The world is a woman.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Yeah, Israeli lady. I ain't gonna say her name on here. Yeah. But yeah, she speaks 8 languages, bro. Dangerous. She's dangerous.
Like,
I know she was a sniper before. And then the thing is, like, you know, women scientifically pay closer attention to detail.
Facts.
You feel me? So like...
So what if science can show that your thoughts have the power to influence other animals? Could this be the tip of the iceberg, showing how powerful your mind is and supporting that consciousness goes beyond our brains? Watch till the end to find out. At the 2025 Science of Consciousness Conference, Dr. Arnold DeLorme presented on something called biofield therapies, which is basically another term for energy healing, where an individual, using their intention, sends this energy to support healing. Now, in part 1 of the study, I already made a video talking about how this biofield therapist was able to lower cancer cell invasiveness by influencing intracellular calcium levels. Now, in part 2, scientists measured the brainwaves from the same biofield therapist with mice. And this is super exciting because this is the first experiment hyperscanning the brainwaves between a human and an animal, with an accuracy down to 1,000th of a second. And what they found was during the baseline of the study, there was coupling between the biofield therapist's brain and the movements of the mice. And then during the treatment, there was a decoupling of these neural responses after these experiments were repeated dozens of times. And although this paper is still waiting for peer review, key takeaway here is that it does show that the human brain shows a statistically significant interaction with animals. So tell me what you think. Does this prove that consciousness is fundamental and it goes beyond our brains?
Am I the only one that didn't know there were over 100 volcanoes in and under Antarctica? Some are kilometers underneath the ice sheet. But then, of course, peaking above the ice at almost 3,800 meters tall is the very prominent and very active Mount Erebus, which is famous for being huge and for having ice towers and a permanent lava lake. The lava lake is just like a cartoon. You could look over the edge and see it. There are only 5 long-standing lava lakes on Earth, and this one is in Antarctica. It also has a bunch of caves, which, once again, despite being in Antarctica, can reach 77 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 25 degrees Celsius, and have up to 100% humidity. So scientists think this could be a great place for a lot of life. And in addition to regular volcano stuff, guess what it's emitting? 80 grams of gold vapor daily. It also has a summit caldera from a giant explosion less than 20,000 years ago. It was ranked a VEI 6, which is just one of the biggest it gets. I got distracted because this is just one of the ones we can see, but again, lots under the ice. This isn't even the tallest above the ice, so let me know if you want to hear about those.
80 grams of gold a day it releases. That's amazing. So is this.
Put up on me, baby, roll on back.
I gotta get the music off that one. Get a copyright strike. So if you hear the music, don't hear nothing, and that's okay.
So this is China, North Korea, and Russia.
Playing no games. It's real Hitlerish.
Okay, so
it's real Nazi-esque.
But you have all the villains, like the movie story villains, all linking up. Like if you look at all the movies, who are always the bad guys?
The Russians, the Chinese, and the North Koreans.
Exactly, right? So they all clicking up to show their power. I feel like this is all a game though. I feel like they're flexing their power all the time just to show that, hey, we can link up and do some shit together.
That's very passive aggressive what they're doing, and they know it.
I think something that, like this is just to show the world, like, hey, we're not playing any games, but
fuck around and find out.
That's what it looks like.
FIFO.
But I think they just have to show you like what they can do. So this is gonna be real interesting.
It is. I think we'll see what the
But it's weird though that Trump just linked up with Putin, and now Putin's with them, and they're supposed to be at odds. I don't know.
New World Order.
That's what it looks like.
That 3 countries linking up together, showing off their might and their power and their military stuff. That's to let us know 3 of us together could probably take you guys out, America. And seems like World War III is like really close, man. I hope not.
They said if the whole world woke up at one time, awakened to the truth, 8% of the population would self-delete. Let's fucking do it. Let's fucking get it. Like, click that button. Whatever it is that will wake us all up and give us all our memory back. We have 8 billion people. Someone do the math and give it to me in the comments. How many people are we... How many people are we saying is okay to... Look, at least we know they're all going to be old enough to make the decision on their own. We're not dealing with innocent children that are just, they're not corrupt already. Anybody that has the ability to process that thought... Can we have the math so we can have a little bit of a better way to go about this? Because... I'm not saying nothing. These are statistics. I've heard an 8% of 8 billion self-deleting if we all woke up at the same time. My life is so affected by the way this Earth's going. Let's run it. 8 billion people on the planet is a lot of problems. It's also a lot of different opportunities too, though.
Gang violence. Gang violence. Gang violence. Gang violence. Gang violence. Gang violence.
That's the.
The reason why mainstream media is not showing you what's happening in Italy is because they don't want you knowing that you can do that in your own country, so go do that in your own country. Okay, bye.
Initially, when
that
CERN
too.
was looking for the God particle, they wanted to refer to it as the goddamn particle. CERN has 24 member states, and the United States is an observer state. It's all quantum.
I'm a lawyer, and I'm telling you right now, this Charlie Kirk case is getting weird. So remember George Zinn, that old white man that they first arrested and come to find out he wasn't the shooter? The feds ended up doing an investigation of him anyways, and you are not going to believe what they found. They started to look through his house and his phone and other things. They found images of more than 20 half-dressed children between the ages of 5 and 12. I am not making this up, and trust me, it gets worse. They eventually confronted the man about these images, and he says that he likes and gets gratification of sending these images to other people. And to make matters worse, he told the police that he shot Charlie Kirk and intentionally got arrested just to distract them from the original shooter. But trust me, there's more. It gets worse.
All right, we have our answer. The question is, what is the government hiding from us? That's what Representative Anna Paulina Luna is aiming to answer with the announcement today of a newly formed task force named Task Force on the Declassification of Federal Secrets, which she will lead.
It is with profound honor that I have been entrusted by Speaker Mike Johnson and Chairman James Comer to lead the House Oversight Task Force on Declassification of Federal Secrets. Together with the help of the White House, our intelligence allies, the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, we will be conducting investigations into the following.
This initiative aims to increase government transparency by declassifying documents of significant public interest. The task force will focus on records related to the Kennedys, Dr. King, and UAPs and USOs, that phenomena as well. The House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer appointed Luna to chair this bipartisan effort, emphasizing the need to rebuild public trust through transparency. Representative Luna stated, "It's time to give the Americans the answers they deserve through the relentless pursuit of truth."
On the back of the Social Security card will be numbers in red. On the front will be in blue or black, but on the back will be in red. The numbers on the back of a Social Security card in red designate your body. It is the serial number of your stock. And this is why if you're wealthy, you are preferred stock. If you're poor, you are common stock. But you are a stock on the stock market. Your body is bought and sold through the use of your birth certificate. This is why when you were born, you have to have a birth certificate. Therefore, your birth certificate is signed by your mother, and where your mother signed on the birth certificate, get it, you will see it does not say parent or mother, it says informant.
We need to talk about Antifa because there is a lot of misinformation circulating right now. So allow me to be very clear. You cannot be labeled as a terrorist simply for identifying with Antifa or holding left-wing beliefs. Legally, the line is drawn at action, violence, destruction of property, threats, or providing material support for those things. Everything else falls under protected speech and political expression. Trump's attempt to classify Antifa as a terrorist organization is a fear tactic. It's political theater, not legal reality. And as many of you know, Antifa is not a formal organization. There's no membership list, no headquarters, no centralized leadership. The term originates from Antifascistische Aktion, which was an anti-Nazi movement in 1930s Germany. The term resurfaced in the US in the 80s and 90s during anti-racism movements and is now just shorthand for anti-fascist. And make no mistake, Trump knows all of this, so here's the real reason why he did it. Because it paints a narrative that anyone who is anti-fascist, anti-capitalist, anti-racist, and basically anyone who disagrees with the administration is inherently violent, despite the fact that the majority of people who hold those beliefs never actually engage in violence.
Do you believe in the singularity? All right, here we go. This is part 3 to the After Death Russian Experiment series that I'm doing. If you haven't seen part 1 and 2, go ahead and check those out. We left off talking about how all the patients were seeing the same kind of journey. So after that, some of the neuroscientists at VladTech started thinking that death wasn't just the end of life, but maybe it was more of a transitional period. And they kind of deemed this place or journey that you took the stream, and it's basically an interdimensional repository of awareness. So it's not like going to heaven, it's not like being in a simulation, it's something entirely different and entirely new. Here's the theory, it's that consciousness isn't destroyed at death, it's actually just rerouted. You can kind of think of it as like our minds are uploaded to a universal network. Then a leak happened for this project, and overnight VladTech went completely dark, servers wiped, researchers vanished. There's essentially no trace of the project happening today. Were we meant to find...
So a girl in Norway has a brand new power that allows her to draw anything she needs, and it comes to life. At first she started to use this skill for drawing flowers for her mother, and they would just appear for her mother. Or a nice cigar for her father, crazily enough, right? But apparently he was a smoker. So later on, she decided that while she was getting bullied by these kids at school, they were picking on her constantly, just being annoying and just calling her bad names. She decided, hey, you know what, I'm going to sketch something that can take this kid and give him a little bit of his own medicine. So later, the next day, she gets notification, or the school gets a notification that says this kid is basically just missing. She drew basically like a little demon type thing. And the parents said in the middle of the night this thing came in, it was all blacked out, and came in and swiped away the bully. Interesting. So she knew it was her fault. So she decided, well, I better bring the kid back. She drew this angel to bring it back, and it turned out to be like this little old grandma that brought the child back, and it just had the child that just wandered away from the home. What do you think? Do you think that this child in Norway has this new capability to draw whatever she wants to bring it into existence? Or do you think it's just a story in a film? Put your comment in the comment section.
What do you guys think about that? Because I think that would make more news than just him saying it, you know? But if she's able to do it in Norway, right, money, make the family rich, you know, prove it. But I think that'd make more of the news. I really do. But that's your guys' call.
The story before, it's really interesting. Shred it. I'm going for Southeast.
Because that's where the word understand comes from. To stand under the foundation that you're building on. Understanding words is what you really need to start doing. You need to start doing your homework and understanding words. If you put an S in front of words, it becomes swords. And that's what words are. They are cutting. They can cause you great trouble. Humans are word-controlled creatures, especially in relation to law and government, because there is a world of occultism that is operating today throughout the world, in which you use certain words, and when those words are used in a court, they don't mean the same thing at all. There are two things that this planet has: water and earth, water and land. Consequently, there are two kinds of law: the law of the land and the law of water. You've heard the term law of the land, but in point of fact, that's precisely what this word means, law of the land, because it is the people who live on land. And that is opposed to something else called the law of the high seas, or the law of water. You need to understand the difference. And make no mistake, they do not pick words by chance. These words are very serious. They do not use words in terms with no avail. These words are very important. When you go into a court, what's the idea of going to court? It's a game, like basketball. The whole idea in a court is to put the ball back in the other guy's court. One team gets up and they throw the ball over to that team of lawyers. That team gets up and throws the ball back into their court. And consequently, it's a ball game. And the judge is wearing a black robe, so he is the referee. The judge is the referee. He doesn't care which side wins or loses because he's going to get paid anyway. So he couldn't care less. He's merely there as a referee, and that's why he wears a black robe. Rules from the bench. The word bench in Latin is a bank. Therefore, the judge rules for the bank. Where do you find banks? You find banks on both sides of a river. They're called river banks. And what does a river bank do? It directs the flow of the current. See, the juice. Consequently, your money is currency because it's the flow, the cash flow. And I'll give you an example of how this works. When a ship pulls into a harbor, all ships are referred to as female. Airships, rocket ships, sailing ships are always female. Why? There's a very good reason. Maritime Admiralty banking law says all ships are female because they're carrying items for money, and so consequently they are under Maritime Admiralty law. Admiralty is where we get the word admiral, admiral of the Navy.
He's a very smart man. Very smart. I like his videos.
Hey there and welcome to the Eco Renegade. So Vietnam has closed 86 million bank accounts. They have frozen them, seized the assets, but they've closed the accounts. And that's 43% of all the accounts. There's around 200 million in Vietnam. Really? And the quote that they give is, prevent fraud and cybercrime. It's always in your best interest, except when it isn't. Can you imagine that number, 86 million, how many millions of people and families that have actually gone into serious, serious trouble because they cannot access their account, either because they refused or couldn't give, the digital ID. That's what they wanted. You had to register a digital ID with biometric data. Give more of your privacy away without your choice. And if you don't do it, we'll take your money, whether you like it or not. That sounds very similar to what they used to do with the banks. I cannot quite remember the name of them, but they'd go in, take the money without permission. I thought that was illegal, but obviously not if you're a government. And the Canadian government has already shown us how to do this because they closed the accounts of the truckers because of a peaceful protest. How the people that authorised that are not in jail serving long sentences, well, is anybody's guess. But the serious point here is it's coming here. They're pushing for digital IDs. And what's going to be the pushback? When is it going to stop? We had it during COVID. Oh, just get one vaccination and you'll be fine. And then they took away your permissions after you got your vaccine and said, no, actually you need another one, and then another one. The point is, these type of people, they keep on taking more and more. The more we give away our freedom, our power, the more they'll take. We are on the edge of a cliff. We don't actually act now and start saying enough is enough. Whether we have to form a brand new government, whatever it is we have to do, or just stop using cards, we have to show that we are not going to allow this or accept this. Because we all stopped going to work or we all stopped using our cards, they'd pretty much listen to us rather quickly. And that's a choice we still have at the moment. If cash disappears, that choice is gone forever. And I wouldn't like to think of the world where we are controlled, where we can drive, where we can fly, what food we can eat, and the bank can choose whether to let you make that purchase or not. That's a dangerous road, and it really is quite scary, because just think of COVID during those times, you would be in deep trouble. You either get whatever the government's pushing, whether it's that, whether it's something else, whether it's a digital ID, or you pay the price. This isn't a democracy, this isn't freedom, and we should resist it as much as we can by choosing. Always choose an option that keeps our freedom alive. And at the moment, cash is the one thing that we still have a choice with. Think about it. Otherwise, where are we going to end up? I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear your opinions. This is scary Orwellian stuff that if we don't do something about it, it is going to be too late. Pull ourselves back from this cliff before we do go over. Thanks for watching.
This is wild.
It's crazy. That's the stuff I was talking about. Like in Vietnam, 83 million people got their, money seized because they didn't have the digital ID, and that's coming to America. Like I know it's coming to America, and they're gonna control us. They are gonna control every little move we make, and it'll be deducted from our income if we don't do this, or like that commercial that they played before. And it's gonna be like you're gonna have social scores. You know, it's not looking good. Not looking good at all. Hope it don't happen here. I hope we fight back before it's too late.
Candace Owens reached out to the family of Tyler Robinson, and she said his own family doesn't believe that picture they showed us of him on the campus was even him. The family also said that the apartment felt like it was staged and it was supposed to be hush hush, and they intentionally put a furry bed to make it look like the story just makes sense. Take a look at what she says in her own words.
The family says that the photo of the young man that is coming up the stairs, which was shared, that blurry image, is definitively not Tyler Robinson. And let me just say, I never thought it looked like him. Neither did you. Okay. Face looks different. Face looks more narrow. Also, that person looks taller. Every time I see, I'm like, this person is taller than Tyler Robinson. Tyler Robinson also appears to have full lips, even though this image is blurry. We're not looking for someone that got fuller lips, and Tyler Robinson looks broader than that individual walking, right? So I'm on board with that person walking up the stairs. It's not Tyler Robinson because I feel like it was intentionally blurred. They also never gave us the footage at all because in order to blur it, they probably needed a static image. Also, the family believes that, and this is really interesting, Tyler Robinson's apartment was staged after his arrest. Now, you will recall that I spoke to Lance's family. And one of the things that Lance's family said was, hey, we own that apartment. They pay rent to us.
Lance is the partner of Tyler Robinson.
Tyler Robinson. But I can tell you that it seems like they were trying to hide the fact that this apartment got raided. And it's very strange that they immediately cleared Lance as a suspect. And I was told by other people in the department that they wanted to keep that raid very hush-hush. They didn't want anybody to know about the raid. There was no mention of this raid. And Lance immediately gets cleared as a suspect. Why? Well, according to Tyler's family, they went to that apartment after his arrest and they felt the apartment was staged and that intentionally in Tyler's room, a furry bed was placed, almost sort of implying that they're trying to transfer the attributes of Lance onto Tyler. And that's shady. But again, when I put together what I'm being told by Lance's family and what I'm hearing from the Robinson family through a third party, I will say that it matches. It kind of seems like they're agreeing. One family's going, hey, Lance is kind of evil. Why is he getting cleared? And the other one's going, Tyler's not this guy. Tyler is not this guy. So what the hell is going on, guys? What is actually going on right now?
Does anyone know why the entire United States...
There's a lot of stuff going on with that, with Charlie Kirk and Tyler and stuff like that. I haven't gotten to the bottom of it. I'm watching a lot of stuff on it, and it don't feel right. I think it was a setup. I really do, and I think that guy that they showed, the security guard, and the video I did before this, how they jumped over the table and grabbed something, put it in their pocket, from after he got shot, and then just ran off. Like, were you going there to help him? Then why'd you just run off after you put something in your pocket? It's just, things are just a little too weird. Too weird.
is covered by an invisible layer of clouds, and this is this week. Today is January 17th. So I want to show you this video. I wish I could credit the person, but on Twitter they steal videos and post them, so I don't know who did it. If you do know, tag them below. But basically they were looking at cloud coverage on one of these radars, right? And what they found was for like the past 2 weeks, the entire US, even right now, is covered by an invisible layer of cloud coverage. That is super, super, super weird. You can see where all the main clouds are, but then you go look outside and you can't really see this invisible layer, and who knows what the invisible layer really is. Oh yeah, it's not just the United States, it's the entire world. So I opened up the Windy app to see if maybe it was here, and it wasn't. So this reminds me, do you remember when we had that glitch on Event 2 Sky? But in that same glitch, we saw physical manifestations at, say, South Africa. And quite literally at the same time, people have been taking pictures of 2 full moons, and the full moon's been there for 4 or 5 days. And of course,
y'all, this David situation is getting out of hand. I'm starting to think this man may get away with this shit. As much evidence points to this man, I don't see why he's not arrested. I didn't heard all the things on why he's not arrested, but it's not making sense to me. Do it make sense to y'all? And then it's like they trying to put out these videos trying to make it seem like it wasn't him. Like TMZ put out a video of her allegedly arguing with the neighbors before she ultimately went missing. And I'm looking like, bro, what was the point of this video? I'm lost, fool. The girl was found in his Tesla in the trunk. Well, the frontal trunk. They say he was on tour when it happened. They already debunked that. You wasn't on tour yet, fool. If he get away with it, y'all, I hope y'all know what it is, right? If you know where I'm going with that, leave it down below in the comments. And drop a 1 if you think he gonna be guilty, and drop a 2 if you think he gonna get away with it.
A family in South Yorkshire, England, gathered at a restaurant for their annual New Year's Day lunch. But one member of this family who said they would be attending didn't show up. It was 50-year-old Stephen Winfrey, who was an unemployed, divorced father of 2, who in recent years had become quite depressed. When they reached out to him on his phone and he didn't pick up, the family pretty quickly started to worry that something could have happened to him, that, perhaps he did something to harm himself given his mental state. But his sister, Nadine, who was at this lunch, she reassured the rest of the family that she had spoken to Stephen the night before, and he was in great spirits and had told her that his plan was to go rabbit hunting the next day on New Year's Day before heading over to the restaurant for lunch. But when they finished up eating, he still had not arrived. And so as the family was getting ready to leave the restaurant and head back home, they all decided, we'll just wait for him to contact us. And so the family, they all leave the restaurant and they spend the rest of the day at their respective households. And then the following morning, they all get in touch with each other and they discover that still no one has seen or heard from Stephen. And so at this point, the family just felt like there was something off about this. And so they contacted the police and they reported him missing. As the police were getting ready to head out and begin looking for Stephen that day, they received a call. Stephen had been found. On New Year's Day, January 1st, the day Stephen was supposed to meet his family for lunch, he had gotten up early and headed out to a nearby forested park to do some rabbit hunting, just like he told his sister he would be. And so all morning long, he was doing this with relative success, and then something happened to where Stephen decided he needed to actually look inside of one of these rabbit holes. And so he got down on his hands and knees and stuck his head into this rabbit hole opening. Now, these openings to these rabbit holes are pretty narrow, and so once he forced his head inside, it got stuck. He could not pull it out again. And so all around the outside of this hole where his head was stuck, there were these deep divots that his hands had obviously dug once he realized he was stuck, because he was trying to dig the entrance a little bit wider to get his head out. But as he was working really, really hard and laboring to kind of dig this hole out, he was burning up the very limited amount of oxygen that was inside of this hole. And so when it became clear he was starting to suffocate, he abandoned the approach of trying to dig himself out and began trying to contort his body outside of the hole at really extreme angles to try to pop his head head out, even if it meant breaking his neck in the process. But no matter how hard he tried, he just could not get his head out. The following day, January 2nd at 4 p.m., this is after Stephen has been reported missing, a person walking through that forested park saw his body poking out of that hole at a really extreme angle, and so they called the police. The police showed up to the park, and they confirmed that Stephen was dead.
It looks like Cash App's going to have to Cash App some of its users. That's right, if you've ever used Cash App before, you could get part of the $175 million that they had to pay up because of their inability to deal with fraud. Now, I'm about to tell you if you qualify, but basically what happened was Cash App created conditions where people could get scammed on their platform. And because of this, they have to refund $120 million back to customers, and they have to pay $55 million in fines. That's not even the worst part. Cash App attempted multiple times to avoid many of its investigation obligations, specifically by essentially screwing its customers over via terms of service. And this honestly is only the tip of the iceberg. I could go way deeper, but I know what you guys care about. We are going to be paid $120 million, and that money is going out to individuals whose unauthorized transfers were not investigated. Essentially what that means, if there was ever a transfer that happened on your Cash App that you didn't initiate, if there was ever a refund that you didn't receive, if
the planet Saturn is the most important subject you're ever going to be introduced to. Political situation that this country's in, the planet Saturn is profoundly important to understand. He's referred to as the Lord of the Rings. They still make movies about him. Wars that are going on in the Middle East, definitely connected to planet Saturn. Women were told in the ancient Israel to listen to their God, so they wore earrings. Men were to get married before their God, so they wore a wedding ring. The kings were to be crowned before their God Saturn, so they wore the round corona, the ring. The Sabbath is actually based on a Phoenician word, Shabbat, and Shabbat is based on an old ancient Sumerian word for Saturn. Saturn was called Shabbat. Worship of Saturn was called the Sabbath. So consequently, when you hear that there's a very important occasion, the Sabbath, it's very important if you're worshiping the planet Saturn. Wake up. Saturn was referred to as El in the old Phoenician language, El. Today, if you are promoting the worship of Saturn, you're referred to as an elder. How did you get to be an elder? You got elected. How did you get elected? And what comes from being elected? Well, you become now one of the elites because you're now elevated in society.
These are the 4 supplements you should never take, because they're actually dangerous. I'm Dr. Charles, and I turn you into a healthier version of you in 30 seconds or less. This is episode 2 of supplements. 4 is vitamin A. People think that it helps your skin and your eyes, but it can actually build up in your body and cause liver damage. Number 3 is vitamin E. People love it for its antioxidant effects, but it actually has been linked to higher rates of cancer. Number 2 is iron. Unless your doctor specifically says to take iron, it can actually damage your heart. Number 1 is biotin, because it can interfere with your lab tests, and you don't actually need to supplement this for your hair and nails.
Was this man really a time traveler that saved our future? In 1998, former Coast to Coast AM host Art Bell received a series of fax messages from a man claiming to be from the year 2036. But that wasn't the end of the story. In November of 2000, a new user logged on to different time travel forums using the name timetravel_0. He eventually revealed that his name was John Teeter, and he was a soldier who had been sent back in time from the year 2036. You see, according to Teeter, CERN had invented time travel in the early 2030s, and a time travel initiative was created to retrieve certain technology from the past. As it turns out, Teeter's mission was to travel back to the 70s to retrieve an old computer system known as the IBM 5100. On his way back to the future, he stopped in the late 90s for personal reasons. Teeter would respond at length to questions from other forum users and even posted photos of his time machine and how it worked using 2 microsingularities. Among Teeter's most dire warnings was that there was a coming second civil war in the US that would find its beginnings after the 2004 elections, and it would all come to a head in 2015 with World War III. However, at the height of his internet fame, John Teeter vanished, and while most of his predictions didn't come true, there are some interesting and concerning similarities today. Although you can listen to my 2-part podcast series all about John Teeter by following the link in the description, many people still wonder.
Take a look at the lavalier. Check this out.
If you want security, the Israelis know what they're doing.
This is the Israeli company that went and grabbed the device, or whatever it is, allegedly.
Here it is from the wide angle. Watch Charlie Kirk's right side of his t-shirt. Watch the lavalier lapel mic. Do you see it explode? Let's bring it in just a little bit closer. Watch this. Put it in a freeze frame. That is the explosion from Charlie Kirk's lavalier lapel mic. Want to see it again? Bring it in closer. Remember when we told you that that was absolutely an exit wound? Yeah, it is. Check the trajectory of the round that was deployed from that lavalier lapel mic. That went directly from Charlie Kirk's lapel. That went directly from underneath Charlie Kirk's white t-shirt up through his neck and created the exit wound that we told you was an exit wound immediately when we saw that exit wound. First we had exploding pagers. Now we have exploding mics. Do you remember the vector analysis from John Bray? That proves that all of the activity came from the mic that Charlie Kirk was wearing. Remember the palm gun guy in the brown shirt, that shadowy looking guy with the sunglasses? Yeah, he pushes the detonator. Clear as day.
Counting gang violence. Great.
That's the assassin. That's the guy that pushes the detonator, which perfectly aligns with the explosion that pushes that projectile through Charlie's right side of his neck and out the left side, creating the exit wound. That might just look like the chaos that you would expect after someone was publicly executed in broad daylight in front of 3,000 people. But in no way did that trigger man, that assassin in the brown shirt with the sunglasses, act alone. We have video now from Destiny that shows the handoff of this remote detonator. We had John Cullen on the program last week, and he made a great point about ballistic acoustics being altered to hide the location of the real shooter. Well, the same can be said to distract from the fact that there was no shooter. Tyler Robinson did not kill Charlie Kirk. This guy, brown shirt guy, he's the assassin.
I believe that. That's what I believe. Everything that guy said. Everything is right there. Like, they got it all on camera, and the handoff and the timing. I believe that. I really do.
Let it be known, I don't know. Instead of just set it in stone. You gotta hold on my
Most dangerous thing you can have in your mouth is root canals, and the reason for this is a root canal filling is a dead tooth. The root has been taken out, so there is now no blood, no lymph going through that tooth to clean it. Microbes can live in there. The body tries to reject something dead, so an infection can be set up here, and sometimes you don't know because you've got no nerves or feeling in that tooth. Every tooth has a link for different parts of the body. Kidney's not working well because the tooth that has the connection to the kidney part has a root canal in it. So I say to people, if you've got a root canal filling that it is at all tender, if it has any discoloration, my advice is try and get it out this week. If you have root canal fillings that don't appear to be a problem, I would still get them out because they are a piece of dead teeth. Now, the other danger in the mouth is mercury fillings. Mercury is a neurotoxin. There is no safe dose of that. In some countries, mercury fillings are totally banned.
Guys, watch this to the end. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below.
This government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
There's a place in Ohio known as Helltown, and in this place, many people have reported feeling extremely uneasy when coming here. To some people, this isn't surprising, considering the horrifying events that occurred many years ago. Helltown was founded by a group of Native Americans who tragically lost many of its people in a gruesome battle between settlers and colonial troops. A lot of Indians died here, but those who survived had left Helltown in search of another home. Fast forward to present-day Helltown, and people are deeply afraid of coming here alone. Many believe that the land is cursed, given the chain of bad luck that ensued when the settlers moved in. On a certain night, Chris Hill, who you might recall from previous videos, decides to visit Helltown. What he captures on camera is eerie, to say the least. As Chris walks through a dense forest, he finds an old barn house. It's from here on out when things get weird.
The barn of Hilltown.
Now, nothing too strange happens here, but when Chris decides to explore beyond the barn, things take a very creepy turn. Watch.
Yeah, this is kind of creepy. It's like a little shack back here. I'm surprised this barn is still standing despite how old it is. What the hell is that? What the fuck? What the fuck is that?
Charlie Kirk was a hologram. Y'all, check it out. Check it out. See the fence? See the fence lines? Fence line in his arm, going across, fence line coming up. Y'all, look closely. Look closely. You can see the fence through his arm. Y'all, we've seen this in other things that we've watched. We've watched them do it. This is a movie. Charlie is a character. Snake Eyes told you that. This was planned for a long time. But look, people, you can see the fence through his arm. So you people coming out here with the holograms and y'all talking about it, he's a projection, he's a hologram. I believe you're right. I believe, y'all, there's too many eyes on this. They're letting us see these things. There's no way they're going to let that get out there. But look at that. You can see through his arm. What do y'all think? What do y'all think, man? What?
Creep on in, on in, on in.
All right. Well, that's all for now. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something from it. Hit like if you did enjoy it. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Join the Fallen Angel family. And I guess I'll make another video and I'll see you again.